Hi students, this video is all about the driving question. Many of you have already attended my focus session about this very topic and we completed the activity together. So you might be watching this video for a recap or a refresher. Others have been absent during those sessions, so it's really important that you watch this whole video and understand the process, the thinking processes that are involved in coming up with a driving question. Remember, your driving question information is on Chapter 5, page 146. So if you have your student workbook with you, make sure you open to the correct page. We talked a little bit about what a driving question is. It is that question that will fuel your entire journey. Just like when you put in gasoline into a car before you go off on a road trip, we want to make sure that our driving question will help us last throughout the entire time with curiosity and with motivation to continue to investigate and explore and learn. So our driving question is probably the most important sentence in the entire project. And your driving question is going to really frame all of your decisions and your research from now until the end. And there may not even be a complete answer to your driving question. A truly great driving question will actually give rise to new questions that you have. So it's kind of like questions that end with more questions. What we did as a class together was we gave every group a few minutes, about 6 minutes, to come up with different words and topics, questions, and ideas that are related to your individual topics. So for example, I did in a sample one on fast fashion. And then I came up with a bunch of post-its that relate to fast fashion. And then I had you guys start categorizing those post-its and coming up with ways that they relate to each other. And then we started to categorize them by topics. So I put in my ideas that relate to the definition of fast fashion in one category, economics and money, supply and demand on one section for with the hot pink post-it, and then another section on the environmental impact, on toxic chemicals and landfills and things like that. So that is basically what we did. And then we went ahead and as a class, we started to composing our driving questions by including our 3 elements, which is our topic word, and in my case, it would be fast fashion, our depth and complexity, prompt or imperative. So these are the words that elevate our driving questions and make them more robust, make them more interesting so that it's more unique and it allows us to really go more into specifics and dive deep into an issue and analyze it in a new way. And then also our theme word, which is one of the 12 universal themes that we're exploring in all of our projects. And I do want to remind you guys that a good driving question is not Googleable. It is not easily answerable by or answered by a moderately educated person. So if your teachers or any college educated adult was asked your driving question, they wouldn't be able to easily answer it. And it definitely is not a simple yes or no question. So let's go ahead and practice writing out a driving question. So I'm going to go ahead and use my topic of fast fashion. So on page 146, it says that your driving question has to have 3 elements: your topic, your depth and complexity, prompt or imperative, and your theme. So here we have our 3 elements. We have our topic, depth and complexity, prompt or imperative, and our theme. So I went ahead and chose different ones that that I thought were perfect matches to what I want to research. Okay, so I chose fast fashion as my topic, impact, contribution, multiple perspectives, trends and patterns for my prompt, my depth and complexity word, and then community, force, change or structure as my theme word. So I'm going to use these 3 boxes to help me come up with a great question. So I wrote them out here as well. And so I have to use this word here, one of the words in this box, and one of the words in this box. So a theme, depth and complexity, and then my topic, okay? So I started to write out questions. So I first started off with, how does sustainable clothing impact the environment? But I didn't really like that because I already know it impacts the environment in a negative way, and anybody can answer that. Then I went to, how do systems of secondhand clothing impact the environment? I did that because of the word systems, because I needed to have a theme word and I knew that I didn't have a theme word yet. But then it still is like, okay, systems is fine because now I can think about like the maybe the economy, or even like laws and government policies that impact the clothing, secondhand clothing idea, or like the sustainable thing, but it's not quite there. How does the life cycle of clothing impact the environment? Now this uses more specific vocabulary from the article I found that I did my article tag on. But I do know that it impacts the environment in a negative way. Like, I know the answer to these questions, and it's been done so many times. So I have to keep looking and looking and looking. But then I realized, wait, if I'm a ninth grader, I need to do a proposal for our community, for any community. And I chose to do the community, my local community of Santa Ana. And a proposal is like an idea that you have for our local community, so that our local city council can decide on something or approve of something, and because we have this idea to help our community. So then I started thinking, okay, how does increasing awareness about sustainable clothing impact consumers' decisions in our local community? So I like that one a lot better. So I'm thinking maybe I should do an awareness campaign, like flyers and events, and maybe a documentary film or a commercial or posters in our local community. Maybe I could do like a clothing swap event in front of a Goodwill, and my friends and I could host it, and then we could donate all the leftover clothes to the thrift stores so that they can use it. And then or we can partner up with like an organization. I know there's a lot of cool companies out there where you can send them used clothing, and they make insulation for buildings and construction sites. They make newer fabrics to create different to create like more sustainable cycles. They do a lot of different creative things with used clothing. So maybe I could do something like that. So I know I want to do like a cool event and a really cool campaign. So then I moved on to how can a community campaign for sustainable clothing practices impact consumers' awareness of the environmental impact of the textile industry. Whew, that's way too complicated, but it's definitely getting closer. How can a community campaign for sustainable clothing impact consumers' perspectives on the environmental impact of their fashion choices? I think I'm mixing it up. I think I want them to understand the environmental impact and then make sustainable choice, or make choices of that like are more about sustainable clothing. So then I changed it to how can a community campaign for sustainable clothing change perspectives on secondhand clothing? Not quite there yet. And then I came up with how can an awareness campaign on the environmental impact of fast fashion? Okay, there we go. There's my topic word. Okay, so I want people to be aware of the environmental impact of fast fashion. I want to make an awareness campaign, maybe a mini documentary or something. And then I want to see if I raise awareness, if that contributes to sustainable practices in our local community. Then if less people will buy fast fashion, or more people will donate their used clothing or do clothing swaps, or purchase their clothes from secondhand shops or thrift shops or Goodwills. So I'm trying to come up with if we do A, can this impact B? And then this would be like the starting point of my proposal for my local community. So that's what I came up with. So I chose this as my final draft, but it could definitely be rejected by my mentor. My mentor might make me change it a little bit. Miss Park might decline it and make me change it a little bit, but I know that this is my best one I have so far. So I'm going to go ahead and submit this by December 13th for my mentor's signature by December 13th. And then I'm going to go ahead and show Miss Park this for her signature and her approval before December 18th. So I definitely need to check out my calendar, do the mentorship log, do my December reflection. I have tons of things to do. This is just one step of the way. So this is how you compose a driving question. If you have any questions about this process, or you just need more help, feel free to contact me, Ms. Park. You can make an appointment with me. You can sign up for one of my Sketch Flex Focus sessions. You can email me to make an appointment, or you can just drop on by into the Flex Lab and come see me with your group, and I will help you out. You can also definitely use your mentors as a great resource, because they're there to help you with every step of this process. All right, that's it for driving questions. Thank you. Bye.